By the time of Jesus, ancient wisdom was spread widely. The Hebrew Bible had been translated into Greek 246 BC during the Jewish calendar year 3515 after Adam. Many people see the Old and New Testament Bible as a book with a beginning and an end. However, it is really a library of the whole gamut of the Western psyche explored during the 5,500 years of its compilation. That long, 5,500, it's the oldest book in the world. It portrays the nitty-gritty of life between different individuals and peoples, their politics and diplomacy, and victory and defeat at the social level, and ambition, lust, fear, hope, generosity, anger, and vengeance at the individual level. All this against the background of a people who identify with a particular God. That's the Jewish people, of course. In this talk, I will draw on quotations from Proverbs, Matthew, and St. Paul to show how the wisdom of Proverbs links with the wisdom of Jesus and the wisdom collated in more recent years under the heading of psychology. This being a term derived from the Greek psyche, as meaning the principle of spiritual and emotional life of the soul, spirit and mind. It is apparent that Jesus and others had access to sources of knowledge equal to that of the established religious authorities of his time. He debated with them in the temple. It is also clear that the observational and deductive wisdom in use by Christian psychologists today has added to the lexicon of the old wisdoms in diagnosing the root causes of many mental problems troubling people in the past and people today. Take a common problem, all ages. People start acting in ways detrimental to an individual or to others. Then detestation and hate enter the scene. What to do? The New English Bible version of Proverbs 25:20-21 reads, "If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. So you will heap glowing coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you." Treating an enemy as you would a friend will bring rewards from the Lord. Likewise, Romans 12:20-21, "If thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirsts, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head." Paul goes on, "Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good." Paul is saying, do not let anger rule your hearts, and reminding them that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Like the writer of the proverb, he also understands that the normal behavior of the time is eye for an eye, like for like. So vengeance becomes yours. Proverbs, Paul, and Jesus all agree that evil will be dealt with by God. Paul says, recompense to no man evil for evil. Be not overcome by evil, but overcome evil by good. And Jesus, Matthew 5:43-48, ye have heard it said, thou shalt love thy neighbour and hate thine enemy. But I say, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which in heaven. It is not possible to read the Bible without seeing images of ourselves as characters in this universal theatre of life from Adam onwards. We all seek wisdom, all seek the pursuit of knowledge, and look for a purpose to our creation. The book of Proverbs, which includes some of the maxims by the pharaoh Amenemope, is a good example of how wisdom in the form of lists of do's and don'ts was collected from Hebrew, Egyptian and Greek sources during the time of Solomon, 970 to 931 BC. But what about the wisdom in psychology? Like Jesus, modern secular psychology does not accept reactive behavior as the norm, eye for eye. But unlike him, it does not say, "Be ye perfect, as your Father in heaven is perfect." Norms in secular psychological counselling follow the gradual shift in human behaviour over time. It changed a lot in the 1960s, which results in some countries diagnosing and treating patients against different norms to those in the Christianized West. However, all do agree that when you do good to someone who despitefully uses you, he has a problem. This is because his mind, like most normal minds, and we're not talking about extreme examples here, wants to be in assonance or in balance. It may be something to do with chemistry and electrical circuits, not wanting to be stressed, who knows. Whatever, he cannot justify his actions on the old reactive standard, eye for eye. His mind, not yours, must cope with the dissonance of coals of fire piled on his head. He has a choice. He didn't want to make it. Does he change his mind and put out the fire, or does he want the mind to stay the same despite the fire? He could be stubborn and even add weight to his side of the argument by recounting memories of past grievances. He might even draw on wider wrongs unconnected to you, maybe connected in his mind to your family, to your nation, or to your ethnicity. After all, hatreds recorded in the Old Testament are still being played out today, so these things are long-lasting. In some countries, obdurate patients, as they're called, may receive holistic re-education as treatment for antisocial actions. This is an intensive process of overwhelming the brain and the neural pathways with specially prepared indoctrination to the point where the mind gives in and submits. In the West, however, mental dissonance, more likely, is to be treated as the counsellor identifies characteristics of the dissonance and then tries to place them within a context more amenable to the assonance within the mind of the patient. See it in a wider context. An illustration of this process at the social level can be seen in the following question. Did Britain win a proud victory at Dunkirk? Or was it an abject defeat? Because self-esteem is vital, to morale of course as well, the use of words and their placement in a phrase or sentence can be either a positive or a negative influence on us. The words proud and abject above make that point. Churchill knew it, Jesus knew it, and psychologists are wisely adept in their use words. The Christian counsellor does, however, have an element missing from the toolkit of the secular colleague. This is the immutable and absolute standard norm that does not drift from one generation to the next. Jesus said, that standard, be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. This is the absolute against which our actions will be measured. But, and here is the wisdom no secular psychologist or counsellor can offer. Knowing that we will all fail, we'll all fall short, God sent his Son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that through him it might be saved. John 3:17. We are flawed and will fail, but thanks to Jesus, our minds can be healed and in a state of assured assonance. If you wish, you may repeat after me words of a hymn, Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Amen, and God bless.